Okay, so the energy that I'm currently channeling is a very excited one. I don't know why. It's been a very slow day. Haven't been doing much. Had one meeting, and all of a sudden it's like, I don't know if you can see that. It's I feel very shaky. It's subtle, but I feel shaky. It's not a bad thing. It's an excited energy. And the first card that I had come out is the Chariot. So the Chariot speaks to either being able to wrangle multiple different ideas, paths, destinies, or fates together to make something more. It's funny, like the excitedness, and I'm also at the same time like feeling like I can't find the words for it. It's like being a multi-passionate individual trying to figure out how to bring things together, and it's like you've struck gold, you've had your eureka moment, and all of a sudden you're like, I know how to bring it all together. And it's like the forward movement is about to happen, but it's right before. It's like when a track and field runner, sprinter, is poised and they got their feet up on those little like wedge thingamajiggies. I'm not very sporty. I don't know what any of that stuff is called, but it's like the energy, the potential is just hovering there in the air. It's like you can feel that, but the excitement is starting to really amp up because you're starting to feel yourself getting closer to this thing that has been so elusive. How you're going to bring these ideas, these passions, desires. I heard missions. Maybe you've got multiple missions that you're trying to accomplish. It's like maybe you don't know yet. Maybe you actually still don't know, but it's a feeling that you're on the precipice. It's very, very close to becoming clear. I do think that potentially this could involve travel. That's what the Chariot tends to be about. It could be an inner journey, but I honestly think this is more practical travel. Like you're going to go somewhere. Couldn't tell you when. It could be anything from the next, I don't know, I heard 2 weeks, 2 months, and then like 2 months from now, or 2 months, and then it was like July, August popped into my head. Ooh, there goes the cat with the cone. But yeah, this idea of bringing the multi-passionate, the different passions together is because the sphinxes in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck are in front of the Chariot, and they're going in slightly different directions. And so at a certain point, if you're not strong enough to pull them together, the Chariot will fall apart. It can't move any further if it's getting pulled in two different directions. And I think maybe you've been feeling pulled in different directions. I don't know why I feel so breathless. You must be very excited. Maybe you're feeling nervous. I don't know. You tell me in the comments. But I think you feel very, very close to something moving. Maybe you are moving. Maybe you're about to go on a trip, or you're about to book a trip. Or you have this intuition that like the breakthrough moment is around the corner. But it feels good. It feels good, but almost overwhelmingly exciting. Yeah, you might be into motorcycles. I don't know. It's interesting that this individual in the Chariot card also has moons on their shoulders and stars in their earrings, and the crown is kind of like a sun. So it's this bringing together of intuition, unconscious, and then the conscious mind. It's understanding that your unconscious mind and its programs are running the vast majority of your decisions in your life. So it's like Carl Jung, who, and I don't know the exact quote, but it was something along the lines of, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will like run your life, essentially. I don't know the exact quote. I'll try and find it. But this is a recognition on your behalf that when you start working with your unconscious drives, which essentially is your nervous system, and oftentimes it's the thoughts that are running constantly in our heads, and without that mindfulness piece, we can find ourselves basically following the instructions or buying into the beliefs of a narrative, this voice that runs in your head that's usually the inner critic. Like, it takes more effort to turn the thoughts around. It takes practice. That's why they call it mindfulness practice. But mindfulness allows you to recognize right away when the thoughts are dysfunctional or they're not serving you, they're not helpful. I'm learning obviously more about manifestation. I love learning about manifestation because it's a very healing thing. I personally am of the belief that manifestation as a practice, because there's many components to it, I think it's one of the most healing, I want to call it a modality. It's technically not a psychological healing modality, but I personally believe that it could be seen in that way from some perspectives, because it plays into how our minds work. It is based in psychology, mindfulness, behavioral psychology, somatic, so changing your decisions, changing your beliefs, changing your movements, what you do in your life, moving your body differently. Then there's identity work, and then narrative, your personal story, which is like narrative therapy, parts work, which is working with the different aspects or personalities within your own psyche, who oftentimes have very different desires, goals, and things that they're afraid of and that they resist. And so they're often going up against each other. So we need to identify them and then figure out what it is that they want and find ways for them to work together. Ooh, really breathless. Anyways, manifestation is really fascinating to me because I see it as requiring becoming very mindful, grounded, able to regulate yourself, be self-reflective, and also essentially deal with integrating your challenges and your trauma so that you can get to that point where you've got a strong enough and stable enough foundation of integration so that if you choose to, you can take it to a more spiritual level if you choose to, because that then helps you navigate manifestation from a place of trust and faith. It would pick your word. It doesn't really matter, but both work for me personally. And when you start to move into this more spiritual perspective, that a lot of the things that we call spiritual bypassing are essentially certain types of perspectives, or some people would call levels of consciousness, that simply don't resonate with the traumatized brain and body. It's like a traumatized brain and body is not in a place of functionality to a point where it can be explained by spiritual teachings. They oversimplify. They become spiritual bypassing. The oversimplification invalidates a very real lived experience of trauma, and then the ripples that has in terms of people's psychology, their ability to regulate emotions, and their somatic, their body-based experience, how they move through the world, and then also identity. So it does take a level of integration and healing before we can really start to benefit from spiritual teachings of certain types, and then really take them to an even deeper level where we start to get into the metaphysical, right? The metaphysical, which, we see overlap between spirituality and science through quantum physics and quantum mechanics, which don't play by the same rules as materialism and regular physics. So all this to say, when you are doing whatever it is that you're going to be doing, I'm barely using the cards here, this is very channeled, you're starting to be able to bring all of these different things together, but it's through linking what is represented by the moon, the stars, and then kind of like a sun crown up here, the unconscious into consciousness, and then integrating the spiritual aspect, even if you don't want to call it spiritual, pick your word, but that trust in something unseen or greater than your understanding, tapping into intuition, listening to your body, gaining mastery over your thoughts. And it really is a practice. There's a reason why it's called mindfulness practice. We need to practice it every day, all the time, whenever we drift from it. It's when you start to bring these elements together that it's like your journey really starts to take off, and you can feel it, probably because you're getting to a point of integration and healing that maybe you've never experienced before. A level of personal insight where you see yourself clearly, and I think it's coming after potentially years of struggle. Like it could have been like just one event and now you're bouncing back from it. But I can feel it in my body personally. So if I'm channeling you, let me know. But I do get the sense that this is a forward movement, a breakthrough that isn't just an aha moment, it's momentum. It's almost like the Big Bang. But right now it's just this tiny potential that is going to become so much bigger than you could possibly imagine. And it's like you feel it. But the reason why you can feel that is because as you've integrated and you've healed from very difficult life experiences, it's like first the numbness that comes as a self-protective mechanism when we are experiencing trauma. We can numb out and dissociate in different ways to protect ourselves from having to feel really, really difficult feelings. And it's like you've now come through the period of first the numbness melting. And so it can become very painful. It's like it amplifies in a big way. But you've moved through that and you've healed it and you've integrated it to the point where it's no longer numb and it's no longer nearly as painful. It's almost like getting to neutral, maybe not neutral, but like stable ground. Being rooted, being grounded, and understanding the spiritual perspectives of things that didn't make sense and were a bypass when the struggle was really, really real. So to say things like there's a lesson in everything happens for a reason, you're stronger because of it. Those types of statements can actually be very disempowering and very harmful for someone who is experiencing active trauma or being re-traumatized, or is moving from a traumatized consciousness and body, which is not your fault if that's where you're at. It is never your fault. And these breakthroughs that are happening for you, it's like those spiritual sayings, because you now have this foundation and you're not swayed or triggered in the way that you potentially were in the past. Now you are able to listen to those things and find something, I was going to say something special in it, but like it's like the gem, the golden nugget, the lesson, the silver lining. It's like where positivity isn't toxic positivity anymore. It's genuine. There's nothing wrong with being positive, but real positivity, not toxic positivity, which is a bypass. Real positivity comes from actually healing and being integrated and being able to look from a place of, knowing yourself and loving yourself and having compassion for where you've come from, everything that you've dealt with, and then being able to look at what has happened with so much more love and compassion and recognizing that it's okay. You're not behind. You're right on time, even if it's felt like a lifetime of setbacks. I personally do believe in divine timing. I don't think that we choose suffering in our lives. I don't think we choose that. But who's to say? I really don't know. I would not project that onto somebody. But what we can do is we can choose to do the work of healing from whatever has caused us harm. And that is a process. And then we have the choice to live a life that is far more fulfilling and full of joy and connection and love and goodness and deliciousness and pleasure and magic, if you want to use that word. And that only becomes accessible when we have done that other work. So you are at that point, and there's something so incredible that's about to move forward so much faster than you think. It's wild that this is coming through with only one card. I used to deny the idea that I would channel things. I thought it was a little bit too woo-woo because I come from an academic background and, very, very scientific mind. Obviously now I'm a tarot reader. I've got like 70 decks in the other room. I mean, you never have enough tarot and oracle decks. But this is like, this channel is so strong. It's a very energetic one. It's one that I feel in my body, and my excitement is huge for you, and yet it feels so grounded. It almost feels like my voice is deeper than usual. I don't know why. It's like you're so sure. And if you're not in this moment, you will be, and you will be very soon. You are so sure that even if you're not sure of yourself and you're still feeling uncertain, you are so certain. Ooh, itchy nose. Ugh, they always say that you're channeling when your nose gets itchy. Yeah, sorry. That's why I always have a red nose. You are certain of the fact that you are, like, your success, if you stay on your path, if you have trust, if you choose to use the word faith, you can, but trust is a great one to go with. If you have trust that there are good things on the horizon for you, and that ultimately, if you keep showing up, you keep loving yourself, and you keep caring for yourself and having compassion for yourself and working on whatever it is that really lights you up and is important to you and is your mission. I personally believe are like divine missions gifted to us. Whether we choose to accept those missions, that is up to you, right? But your fulfillment will very likely come from figuring out what is your mission. It's not necessarily your purpose. Your purpose is to live your human experience. Your mission is what is important to you and how you're going to give back to the world. Some people, their way of giving back to the world is helping people literally fix their kitchen sink. Like, you know, being a plumber isn't necessarily one's destiny. That's a choice, right? But helping people shows up in so many different ways. I think we get stuck around this idea of what is my purpose, and it's not that. It's the mission is to contribute to this world and help and ease suffering, bring more joy, bring more light, and that can come in the form of arts and creativity. It can come from entertaining people. It can come from caring for them in healthcare. It can come from, you know, fixing things in someone's home or building a home. It can come from being a financial advisor that helps people grow their wealth and their security. It can come from so many different places, but it is about figuring out how you want to do that, while also looking at what are your strengths, what are your skills, and what skills would you be willing to put in the work to learn or get educated for, however that comes about. But this, I feel like this time for you right now is really tapping into just the understanding that your purpose here, the mission is to help other people. And it's about finding a way to do that either joyfully, or even if it's a very, say for example, like lawyers aren't necessarily joyful all the time, or working in an intensive care unit or the emergency in a hospital, it's not always joyful. I'm not saying that it needs to be, but it is fulfilling because you understand the mission and this is how you have chosen to do it. It can also change in your lifetime, but you are very, very close to having like the breakthrough of all breakthroughs. And it's not just an aha moment. It is like forward movement. I'm going to take some more cards, but it's very interesting that has all come out just with one card. So let's see, what else does the collective need to know about this? Oh, wow. Wheel of Fortune. Like immediately, another major arcana. The wheel is turning for you. If you have felt stagnant, if you felt stuck, if you felt like, you know, life has been this series of like start, stop, and you can't seem to break through and move things forward, now is your time. And I don't even think you need to know what to do. I think that they're fated events. Like, I believe in, telling you all many of my beliefs here. I believe in free will. You make choices. You are responsible for living your life to the best of your ability. You're navigating it. But I also do believe that there are certain things that are fated, that are almost like destiny in some way. And that's a controversial opinion, but again, I bring a lot of science and spirituality and bring it together. And you get to choose what your your belief system is, the frame, the lens that you look through the world through, look at the world through. That's entirely up to you. But I am of the belief that there are fated events. There are things that have happened in my own life that without that very specific thing that just somehow worked out, like it was miraculous, that led to a path that was completely different from what it was that I was doing before. And I never would have made that choice if that fated thing, or what I believe to be a fated thing, hadn't happened. And sometimes it's really hard to understand in the moment why a certain thing happened, because it can be very painful. It can be like those tower moments. If you're familiar with the tarot, it can feel like everything's falling apart and it's not what you wanted. And then we all know in hindsight, whether it's the next day or it's a decade later, we can look back on it. Ooh, that jumped out and then fell back on the pile. It was meant to be. It needed to happen. Something had to crumble in order to shift your identity, your mindset, your path. Yeah. This is amazing. Okay, so we had this reading yesterday. I think I posted it. The Nine of Wands was upright. This is like the wounded warrior, like chip on the shoulder, feeling hard done by, a little bit jaded, that kind of energy. It's in the reverse. We don't feel this way anymore. It's like the acceptance of what has happened for a good reason, because you're choosing that perspective and you don't have to choose it. I will always emphasize this. If that doesn't resonate with you, I will not project onto you that something really heavy or terrible happened for a reason, for your own good. Like, only you get to decide that narrative and that frame if it works for you. But I would say that because of this card coming out in the reverse, it seems to me like you are coming around to that recognition, to choosing to empower yourself despite a disempowering situation, right? You didn't choose that thing. It was out of your hands. Sometimes things just, there's a domino effect. Okay, so someone who is really, really controlling, King of Wands, doesn't matter if it was man, woman, they, them, she, her, him, doesn't matter. It's just the energy. King of Wands in the reverse. This is someone who had a domineering and controlling energy over you and your life. And you have either removed yourself from a situation, you are removing yourself from a situation, or the universe removed you from it. And it could have felt like so fast, like a domino effect that was out of control. And perhaps it was very shocking. You could have just finally been brave and stood up for yourself. It could have been a recognition that something is just not for you, but it feels very strong that this is a particular person. It could be your own inner critic, potentially. There's always that potential that when you've got multiple characters in a tarot reading, that it could be a dynamic inside of you. Ooh, the Hierophant. Okay. I love this. Usually this means, wow, we've got 3 major arcanas out of 5 cards already. The Hierophant usually refers to structure, institution. This could be a job or a workplace. It could be, an educational institution. It's like by the book, the rules. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just organized, an organization in some capacity. But when I saw this card come out, I don't know, I'm channeling like such a serious energy all of a sudden, but it's an excited one. I really do feel it like in my voice. It almost sounds lower right now. Maybe I'm wrong. So sorry, my neighbors are pretty loud right now. When this came out, it didn't feel like the institution. This felt like it's almost like taking your throne. It's like as this person topples, in a way, out of their position of power, you are sitting down as the Hierophant. It's like being in the driver's seat of your own life. And this might be for the first time consciously going, I am in charge now. I have spent my life feeling disempowered, and now I don't have to anymore. And it's such a beautiful thing. And it's okay if it also feels intimidating. Maybe it's truly is the first time that you're like, okay, like I'm the CEO of my own life. I am my own first love. I am the one who is the designer. It's like, or the creator. It's like recognizing, again, if you're into manifestation, you don't have to look at it from a spiritual lens, but you can if it's helpful. This is like taking it to that level of creator consciousness, God consciousness, if you want to use that word. It's entirely up to you. I heard recently another reader calling it, what did she say? The God of her, what did she say? The God of her creation, or the God of her imagination? She was, I don't know the exact phrase. I'll try and find one of her videos and reference it. But she was talking about how it's not a traditional God, like personified kind of thing. That's not what she's talking about. When I use that word, I'm talking about creator energy. I'm talking about spirit. I'm talking about the universe. I'm talking about the ineffable. It's like this supreme consciousness that we as humans can't really understand, but also we're just part of it. We're a fragment of it. It's when people say we are all one, like technically we are all made of stardust. So this is getting really deep, but the point is you are recognizing that you have that within you. So this is not about letting the universe or God or spirit, whatever it may be, the creator, however you want to conceptualize that, make the decisions for you. And it's not about you necessarily having to do everything on your own. It's this beautiful co-creation. But in order for you to do that, you had to reclaim this place. It's not a holier than thou. It's not bad. And if you're a recovering people pleaser, it can feel really uncomfortable to empower yourself, like to take that place in your own life when you've been giving the power and the steering wheel or the throne to anyone and everyone else because it felt like they knew better. But they don't know better. You do. Interesting. Okay. We got the Knight of Swords and the Three of Pentacles. And so this is, it's a rushing energy. It's rushing in to collaboration. It's as if there's a collaboration that comes in very quickly around the corner. It's a part of your journey, the next steps. I don't know what the collaboration is. Only you will know. Can we get some clarification about the Knight of Swords, please? And the Three of Pentacles. Can I please get... Oh, hang on, that's too many. Try that again. What's that? Six of Pentacles. Okay. The Six of Pentacles came out sideways. It speaks to give and take, karma, ebb and flow, relationships of power, giving and receiving. I need to get more clarification. It's a very unique set of cards. What's that one? Eight of Cups. Okay. So I get the sense that in the past you rushed into collaborations with the wrong people. Or not necessarily the wrong people, but it just didn't turn out like you need to go your own way. It's not to say that you're not going to collaborate with others. And this could also mean that an offer comes in soon for a much more aligned collaboration, one that has equal give and take, but it hasn't been that way. And you are essentially taking your power back and working for yourself. Like maybe being an entrepreneur is something that you really want to do. And you're just recognizing that you need to embody this energy of being your empowered self, and that's how you're going to move forward. What's really beautiful is you're not doing this in a reckless way. You're not doing the whole like kick the door on the way out of the last phase of your life situation. The cups are still upright, but you're moving forward under the light of the moon, and the light of the moon is borrowed light from the sun. It can be very unclear, uncertain. We don't know where we're going. It's the void space, but you are choosing to do that, and you're starting to like truly feel like you're choosing it, even if you didn't feel like in the past. You were choosing what was happening. You're shifting from what one of my mentors calls being at effect. So it's like everything's happening to you and you feel like it's out of your hands, to being at cause. Now, you don't cause a thing like a natural disaster. You don't cause war. That's not what I mean. What I do mean is that you are at cause when it comes to doing proactive things in your life. Wow, this feels like really, sorry, don't usually come with such a, whoever I'm currently channeling and whoever I'm channeling it for, they really want you to hear it. They want it to be received. I will try to deliver this with a little bit more softness and love. I don't know. It just seems so firm. But they really want you to hear it. You are going the right way. Like, keep going. Don't turn back. Even if it feels uncertain, you're doing this. You're doing it right. Even if right now you're like, what the heck is even happening? What am I doing? Okay, I actually do need to go. So, oh my gosh, I just got a whole oh wow. Okay, that was a whole lot all at once. We got the Queen of Wands. I love this card. So this is like a replacement for the King of Wands. That was this fairly self-centered person in your life. Could be yourself, just recognizing that your approach to things was not coming from a heart-centered space, and it was just grasping at things like just sort of empty goals. I personally think that this was being under someone else's very domineering energy. But again, it could be your inner critic or just things that weren't the best motivations. But you are stepping into a Queen of Wands energy. I love sunflowers. They're my favorites. You're choosing that strength, but also the compassion piece. The queens, I love the queens, regardless of your gender, because they represent the strength along with the softness, the emotional maturity, whereas the kings can sometimes be a bit harsh. Pardon me. You may be struggling to speak your truth or figure out what your mission is. You don't really know what to say. That can be a part of potentially the confusion right now, because there is the Two of Swords, again, under the light of the moon. You could be feeling like, because the swords represent logic, reason, the mind. It's like air energy, but the water behind is a very clear indication that whatever decisions you are making need to be not necessarily motivated by emotions only, but they do need to be heart-centered decisions and not just using logic and reason. It's like that mind and heart coherence, and that's where the clarity really comes through. We got the Ace of Pentacles, which is a brand new offer from the universe. Like, it's a giant hand sticking out of the fifth dimension into the third dimension. And when I say the 5D, it's like ideas zone. It's like where the inspiration comes from, like seemingly out of the ethers, right? There is some sort of idea for a career shift, a business. Sorry, I'm hearing a lot of different things. Oranges might be important to somebody, or the color orange. I don't know why that just came through. You might be eating an orange. That was weird. Getting a lot about fruit all of a sudden. Back on track here. This is something to do with your money. You might be coming into some money unexpectedly, getting a paycheck, an opportunity. I would pay attention to conversations. Like, if you're feeling hermity, go out. Sorry, it's so loud. They drop things a lot. I don't know why. Go out, connect with people, meet new people, have a conversation. Don't hide away just because things have been intense or overwhelming for you lately, or you're in this, like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life kind of phase. Don't shut down in this Four of Pentacles way, which is like you don't have to give everybody your life story. You don't have to tell them everything that's going on with you. But don't close off entirely, because when you step into this power, which is not domineering, it's just having dominion over your own life. It's recognizing your power, that you are the CEO, that you have divinity in you, and that you are a co-creator with the universe around you, you're at this level that I don't think you've ever been at before. And it's very, very exciting. There is something so special coming in for you, and it's going to change your life. It really is. So you don't have to make any decisions right now. I think you might be feeling overwhelmed and thinking, I don't know what to choose. Do I do this? Do I do that? Do I go this way or that way? It's all going to come together, and there's just some missing information that it's like being in the middle of the novel. You're not supposed to know what the end is yet. You can have a vague idea of what it is that you'd like the end to be. You chose the novel based upon what you were hoping your life was going to be like or which direction it would go, generally speaking. But this is like how the back of a movie doesn't tell you the entire, it doesn't describe every scene. It doesn't give everything away. The same with the back of a book or the inside cover of a book. You're not supposed to know. That's some of my favorite advice I've ever gotten from a friend. Maybe you're not supposed to know. Let life surprise you. As one of my mentors says, let life ravish you in a really beautiful and unexpected way. Surprises can be good. They're not always bad. So I'm so excited for you. I hope that this message finds the right people at the right time and it finds you well. I am sending you so much love, and I will see you in the next one.